welcome to the channel. Hit subscribe and dive into stories that'll stay with you long after the video. So let's begin. The diner was quiet that Tuesday morning. Rain tapped the glass like restless fingers, and the smell of fresh coffee drifted through the air. Clara wiped her hands on her apron, humming softly when she noticed him, the man at table 7. He sat alone by the window, shoulders hunched, his hands gripping a mug that had long gone cold. At first, she thought maybe he was just tired, but then she saw his face creased with grief, eyes wet and unfocused, a grown man crying quietly into his coffee. Clara hesitated. She'd seen all kinds in her 5 years waitressing at Marty's diner. Truckers, travelers, lonely souls passing through town. But something about him was different. There was a stillness to his pain, like it wasn't new, like it had roots. She walked over, her sneakers squeaking on the tile. "Hey there, you okay?" she asked softly. The man looked up, startled. His eyes were gray, stormy, almost apologetic. "I'm sorry," he muttered, voice hoarse. "Didn't mean to, make a scene." "No scene," Clara said with a gentle smile. "Just wanted to check if you need a refill. Or maybe someone to talk to." He tried to smile back, failed halfway. "You're kind, just tough morning?" Clara nodded. "Happens to the best of us." She poured him a fresh cup, watching steam rise between them. He wrapped his hands around it like it was the only warm thing in his world. After a moment, he whispered, "Do you ever lose something and realize too late how much it meant?" Clara froze. The question hit somewhere personal. "Yeah," she said quietly. "Yeah, I have." Neither spoke for a while. The diner hummed softly, cutlery clinking, rain drumming the windows. When she returned with his check, he just stared at it, unmoving. Then, with trembling fingers, he pulled out his wallet and stared inside like it had betrayed him. Empty. Clara saw it, saw the panic flicker behind his eyes. I thought I had cash," he stammered. "My card. It's—" He stopped, voice cracking. She stepped closer, lowering her voice. "Hey, it's all right." "No, it's not," he whispered, shame flooding his face. "I ordered food I can't pay for. I didn't mean—" His words broke apart. Clara's heart clenched. Something about the way he said it, so heavy, so final, felt deeper than just a missing wallet. "It's okay," she said again, firmer this time. "You don't have to worry about it." He shook his head violently. "No, you don't understand." He pushed the plate away, eyes glistening again. "I shouldn't even be here." And before Clara could say another word, he stood up so suddenly his chair scraped against the floor and walked out into the rain without looking back. Clara stood frozen, the check still in her hand, heart pounding. Through the window, she watched him disappear down the wet street, his coat dark with rain. Something inside her whispered, "That man isn't just broke. He's broken." Clara couldn't shake it. All morning, as she poured coffee and cleared plates, her mind kept drifting back to table 7. Who was he? Where was he going? And why did it feel like he'd left something behind besides an unpaid bill? Around noon, she found it. When she went to wipe his table, she spotted a folded napkin tucked under the salt shaker. It was soaked slightly at the edges, ink bleeding into the fibers. She opened it carefully. 3 short lines. "If anyone finds this, please don't call anyone. I just needed to say goodbye." Her breath caught. It wasn't a note to the diner. It was a message to the world. Clara looked toward the door, half expecting him to walk back in, drenched and apologetic. He didn't. The note trembled in her fingers. She could have ignored it. Just another sad stranger passing through. But something deep, instinctive, wouldn't let her. She grabbed her jacket and stepped out into the rain. The air outside was sharp with cold. Puddles shimmered on the street, reflecting neon signs and traffic lights. She glanced both ways. No sign of him. Then, across the intersection, she spotted a figure sitting on a bench near the bus stop. Head bowed, same gray coat. Her heart thudded. She jogged over, clutching the note. "Hey, wait!" The man looked up, startled again. It was him. "What are you doing here?" he asked, wiping rain from his face. "I found your note," she said softly. Holding it out, he froze, his lips parted as if to speak. But no sound came. Finally, he whispered, You shouldn't have followed me. Why? Because you wanted to disappear? Clara said, trying to keep her voice steady. He flinched, guilt flashing in his eyes. I wasn't planning to hurt anyone, he said, just didn't see the point anymore. Clara stared at him, rain dripping from her hair. Not seeing the point doesn't mean there isn't one, she said quietly. He looked away, his jaw trembling. You don't know what I've lost, he muttered. Then tell me, she said. Maybe I'll understand. He shook his head, staring into the rain. There's no fixing what's gone. For a moment, neither spoke. Then a bus roared up, brakes hissing. He stood, pulling his coat tight. Clara's pulse raced. Where are you going? Doesn't matter, he said. Just away. The doors opened. He stepped toward them. Wait, she blurted. At least tell me your name. He hesitated halfway up the steps. Eli, he said finally. My name's Eli, and then he was gone, swallowed by the bus's hiss and the heavy rain. Clara stood there, soaked, watching taillights fade into gray distance and feeling like she'd just brushed against the edge of someone's last goodbye. That night, the rain turned to mist. Clara couldn't sleep. Eli's face haunted her, the way his voice broke, the way he'd looked like he was already halfway gone. By morning, she made up her mind. She grabbed her car keys and drove to the bus depot. It wasn't far, just a small town stop with one bench and a vending machine. Inside, she asked the clerk, Did a man named Eli pass through yesterday? Gray coat, early 40s? The clerk squinted. Yeah, think so. Bought a one-way ticket to Fairview. Left around 2. Fairview, that was 2 towns over. Nothing but old mills and a half-empty motel strip. Clara thanked him and hit the road. The clouds hung low, pressing against the hills as she drove. Every few miles she second-guessed herself. What was she doing? Chasing a stranger who couldn't pay for breakfast? But she couldn't stop thinking about that note. By the time she reached Fairview, it was noon. The motel clerk pointed her to room 8. Guy checked in last night. Didn't look so good. Clara's stomach twisted. She walked down the narrow hallway, heart pounding. She knocked. No answer. She knocked again, louder. Eli, it's Clara from the diner. Silence. She turned the handle. It creaked open. The room smelled faintly of damp clothes and stale air. A suitcase sat open on the bed, mostly empty. And on the nightstand, beside an untouched cup of coffee, was a small photograph, a woman and a little girl, smiling, laughing. Clara's breath hitched. She picked it up. On the back, written in neat handwriting, Anna and Lily, my whole world. Eli was nowhere in the photo, but his absence screamed louder than words. Then she heard it, a sound from the bathroom, water running. Her pulse spiked. She rushed to the door and knocked hard. Eli, please open the door. A pause. Then the faint creak of the faucet turning off. Moments later, the door opened a crack. Eli stood there, eyes red-rimmed, face pale. He looked shocked to see her. What are you doing here? He whispered. I was worried, Clara said. You left that note. You looked like you were about to do something you can't take back. Eli stared at her, then laughed bitterly. You really shouldn't have come. I couldn't just do nothing. He turned away, running a hand through his hair. You don't get it. I buried them. The words hit her like a blow. Your wife and daughter? She whispered. He nodded slowly. Car crash. 3 months ago. I was driving. The air left the room. He sank onto the bed, trembling. Every time I close my eyes, I see their faces. I should have died with them. Clara felt tears sting her eyes. You didn't, and maybe that means something. Eli looked up, broken and hollow. Then tell me what it means. She had no answer. Only silence, thick, heavy human silence, filling the space between 2 strangers bound by grief neither asked for. Clara stayed. She didn't know why. Maybe it was guilt. Maybe empathy. Maybe something deeper. Something that whispered you were meant to be here. She brought him coffee from the motel lobby, sat by the window while he talked, and slowly, between sobs and silence, Eli's story unfolded. He'd been a construction foreman, loved his family, took 1 weekend off to drive to the lake. Then a storm came out of nowhere. A flash of light, the sound of screeching tires, and everything went dark. When he woke up, they were gone. He'd sold everything afterward. Drove aimlessly for weeks, ended up in her diner because he was hungry and hadn't eaten in 2 days. I thought if I could just vanish quietly, maybe it wouldn't matter, he said. I'm just a ghost that never left. Clara listened, every word heavy as stone. When he fell silent, she said softly, You're not a ghost. You're still here. That matters. Eli gave her a faint, sad smile. You really believe that? I have to, she said. Otherwise, none of this means anything. He looked out the window, where rain had started again, gentle this time. For the first time in months, he whispered. Someone looked at me and didn't look away. That night, she stayed until he fell asleep sitting upright. Before leaving, she slipped the photo of Anna and Lily back into his hand. The next morning, she found him gone. The bed was made, the suitcase packed, the room empty except for a note on the nightstand. Thank you for reminding me what it feels like to be seen. I owe you more than I can ever repay. Eli. Clara stood there. Reading it over and over, she felt fear, relief, sadness. Had he found peace, or had he gone to end it after all? Days passed, weeks, no sign of him, until one morning, as she was refilling sugar jars at the diner. The front door chimed, and there he was, clean-shaven, eyes clearer, holding a small envelope. Clara froze. Eli? He smiled, soft, uncertain. You kept my secret. Now it's my turn. He placed the envelope on the counter. I got a job in Fairview. New start. I wanted to leave this with you. Inside was a simple note and a check, enough to pay for every unpaid meal that week. I can't erase what happened, he said quietly. But I can make small things right. Clara blinked back tears. You don't owe me anything. Maybe not, he said, but helping someone once saved me. Maybe it can save someone else too. They stood there. Two people changed by one moment of kindness neither could explain. When he left, Clara watched through the window again, but this time, he didn't vanish into rain. He walked into sunlight. Months passed, and winter melted slowly into spring. The town exhaled, icicles dripping from rooftops, gray skies giving way to pale blue mornings. Inside Marty's diner, everything looked the same humming lights, same smell of coffee and toast, same chipped mugs that Clara always meant to replace but never did. But something within her had changed, subtly, quietly. She moved slower now, more thoughtful, more present. Each time she filled a cup or smiled at a stranger, she felt the echo of that rainy day, the man at table 7, and the way he'd looked up from his sadness like sunlight breaking through fog. Sometimes, when the morning rush slowed, she'd glance at that table. For a moment, she could almost see him again. Eli, hands wrapped around a mug, eyes lost in another world. But now that image didn't ache. It reminded her that not every story ends where we expect. One soft evening near closing, a small package arrived. No return address. Just her name, written in neat, careful handwriting. She opened it at the counter while the last customers left. Inside was a single photograph. Eli stood among a group of construction workers, sleeves rolled up, a faint but steady smile on his face. Behind them stretched the frame of a new playground, half-built, sunlit, hopeful. On the back of the photo were words written in pen. For Anna and Lily, for every reason to keep going. Clara pressed the photograph to her chest. Tears slipped quietly down her cheeks, not of sadness, but release. She framed the photo and hung it near the register the next morning. When customers noticed it, they'd ask who the man was, and Clara would just smile and say, someone who reminded me that kindness matters more than we think. Weeks rolled on. Life didn't become perfect, but it became lighter. Then one chilly morning, just as dawn cracked open the horizon, a young woman wandered in. Her coat was too thin for the weather, and her eyes looked frightened in that way people's eyes do when they've run out of options. She sat down at table 7, ordered pancakes and coffee, ate slowly, like she hadn't eaten in days. When Clara brought the bill, the girl's face paled. I lost my wallet on the bus, she said softly. I'm so sorry. Clara studied her for a moment, the tremble in her voice, the shame she tried to hide. Then Clara smiled. Don't worry about it, she said gently. Breakfast is on the house. The girl blinked, tears gathering. Thank you. I'll pay you back someday. Clara shook her head. Just promise me this, when you can, do the same for someone else. The girl nodded. smiling through tears. As she left, sunlight spilled through the window, painting the walls gold. Clara turned toward the photograph by the register. Somewhere. She hoped Eli was smiling too, because kindness, real kindness, never ends where it begins. It ripples outward, quiet and unstoppable, until it finds the next soul who needs saving. Thanks for watching. Subscribe and visit the channel for more real-life stories.